The First World War began in the summer of 1914, shortly after the assassination of Austria's Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and lasted more than 4 years, ending in 1918. The Great War left more than 20 million soldiers dead and 21 million more wounded, which can be attributed to trench warfare and the number of countries involved in the war. For aspiring historians, understanding the causes of World War I are equally as important as understanding the conflict's devastating effects. Though the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand was the direct precipitating event leading to the declaration of war, there were many other factors that also played a role in leading up to World War I. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand on June 28, 1914, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was assassinated by Gavrilo Princip. Ferdinand was chosen as a target because he was to be the heir of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. On the day of his assassination, the Archduke traveled to Sarajevo to inspect Imperial armed forces in Bosnia and Herzegovina, former Ottoman territories acquired by Austria-Hungary in 1908. While Ferdinand was traveling in an open car in Sarajevo, Princip fired into the car, shooting Ferdinand and his wife Sophie. Following the assassination, Austria-Hungary issued an ultimatum to Serbia, which was rejected and led Austria-Hungary to declare war against Serbia with German support. Russia then came to Serbia's defense, therefore initiating the First World War. In the age of imperialism prior to World War I, countries throughout Europe had created alliances. The alliances promised that each country would support the other if war ever broke out between an ally and another great power. Prior to World War I, the alliances of Russia and Serbia, France and Russia, Germany, Italy and Austria-Hungary, Britain, France and Belgium, France, Britain and Russia, and Japan and Britain were firmly in place. The alliance between France, Britain and Russia, formed in 1907 and called the Triple Entente, caused the most friction among nations. Germany felt that this alliance surrounding them was a threat to their power and existence. As tensions continued to rise over alliances, the pre-existing alliances fed into other countries declaring war against one another in the face of conflict. These conflicts over alliances, which forced nations to come to the defense of one another, led to the formation of the two sides of World War I, the Allied and Central Powers. By the start of the war, Italy and the United States entered on the side of the Allied powers, which consisted of Russia, France and Great Britain. The Central Powers alternately consisted of Germany, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria. Each nation sought to secure its own interests and expand its influence. Diplomatic negotiations were frequent, but so were military preparations. This struggle for power created a climate of suspicion and hostility. Political cartoons of the time often depicted the growing animosities between nations. Great Britain, with its vast empire, was the dominant global power. Its navy ruled the seas and its colonies spanned the globe, bringing wealth and resources back to the British Isles. Yet Germany, unified only in 1871, was rapidly industrializing and building a powerful military. Under Kaiser Wilhelm II, Germany's ambitions grew, seeking a place in the sun. Its ambitions challenged the existing balance of power. The naval arms race between Britain and Germany exemplified this growing rivalry. France, still smarting from its defeat in the Franco-Prussian War, yearned to regain its lost territories of Alsace-Lorraine. National pride and a desire for revenge fueled French policies. Russia, a sprawling empire stretching from Europe to Asia, grappled with internal unrest and sought to expand its influence in the Balkans. The Tsar faced both external threats and internal revolutionaries. Austria-Hungary, a patchwork of different ethnicities and languages, faced growing nationalist movements within its borders. The empire struggled to maintain unity amidst rising demands for independence. The Ottoman Empire, once a mighty power, was in decline. Its territories were shrinking, and it faced challenges from both within and outside its borders. It struggled to hold on to its remaining territories in Southeast Europe. The Balkans, a region of diverse cultures and nationalities, became a hotspot for conflict. In this volatile environment, even a small spark could ignite a major conflict. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914 would be that spark. The seeds of World War I were sown in this complex interplay of imperial ambitions, national rivalries, and ideological clashes. The world was on the brink of a war that would change everything. The stage was set for a conflict that would reshape the political map of Europe and redefine the nature of warfare itself. The Great War, as it was known, would leave an indelible mark on history. One of the key factors that contributed to the outbreak of World War I was the complex system of alliances that had developed among the European powers over the preceding decades. These alliances were initially intended to deter aggression and maintain the balance of power across the continent. However, they ultimately served to escalate tensions and draw the continent into a devastating war that would change the course of history. At the heart of this intricate system were two opposing alliances, the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente, each with its own strategic interests and goals. The Triple Alliance, formed in 1882, initially consisted of Germany, Austria-Hungary and Italy, and was a cornerstone of Bismarck's foreign policy. This alliance was orchestrated by Bismarck, the Chancellor of Germany, as a strategic move to isolate France and prevent a two-front war that could threaten German security. Italy, however, had its own territorial ambitions in the Balkans, which often conflicted with those of Austria-Hungary, leading to internal tensions within the alliance. When war broke out in 1914, Italy declared neutrality, citing these conflicting interests, and eventually joined the Allied side in 1915, shifting the balance of power. In response to the formation of the Triple Alliance, France sought to strengthen its own position by forming strategic alliances with Russia and Great Britain. These agreements, formalized in 1907, created the Triple Entente, a powerful counterbalance to the Triple Alliance. The alliance system created a precarious situation where an attack on one country could quickly escalate into a wider war, involving multiple nations. This was because each country was obligated to defend its allies, even if it did not have a direct interest in the conflict, leading to a domino effect. The alliance system, which was meant to deter aggression and maintain peace, instead created a hair-trigger environment where any localized conflict could spiral out of control. A localized conflict ignited by miscalculation or a desire for swift victory could drag the entire continent into a catastrophic war, as it did in 1914, leading to unprecedented destruction and loss of life. Nationalism, a potent force in the early 20th century, played a significant role in setting the stage for World War I. Nationalism, in its most basic form, is the belief that one's nation or ethnic group is superior to others. This belief often manifests as a desire for self-determination and independence. In the years leading up to the war, nationalism fueled tensions and conflicts across Europe, particularly in multi-ethnic empires like Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. Austria-Hungary, a sprawling empire composed of diverse ethnicities like Germans, Hungarians, Czechs, Slovaks, Serbs, Croats and others, faced increasing internal pressure from nationalist movements. These groups sought greater autonomy and, in some cases, complete independence. The empire's inability to manage these nationalist aspirations effectively contributed to instability in the region. The Ottoman Empire, once a vast and powerful entity, had been in decline for centuries. It faced growing nationalist movements among its Balkan territories. The rise of Balkan nationalism, fueled by desires for independence from Ottoman rule, led to a series of wars and crises in the region. The Balkan Wars of 1912 to 1913 further weakened the Ottoman Empire and heightened tensions in the region. Nationalism, while a powerful force for unity within nations, often bred division and conflict between them. The pursuit of national interests, fueled by fervent belief in one's own nation's superiority, made compromise and peaceful coexistence increasingly difficult. Section 4. Powder Keg of Europe. The Balkans and territorial disputes. The Balkans, a region in southeastern Europe, had long been a hotbed of ethnic and political tensions. This area, rich in cultural diversity and historical significance, was home to numerous ethnic groups, each with its own distinct identity and aspirations. Referred to as the powder keg of Europe, the region was plagued by a complex web of territorial disputes, religious differences, and nationalist aspirations. These factors created a volatile environment where conflicts could easily ignite. The decline of the Ottoman Empire in the 19th century created a power vacuum in the Balkans. As the Ottoman grip weakened, various ethnic groups and emerging nations sought to assert their independence and expand their territories. This vacuum attracted the attention of the great powers, who saw an opportunity to expand their influence and secure strategic territories. The Balkans became a chessboard for European powers, each maneuvering to gain an advantage. Austria-Hungary in particular viewed the Balkans as crucial to its own security and sought to expand its influence in the region. The empire's leaders believed that controlling the Balkans was essential to maintaining their power and stability. This ambition brought it into direct conflict with Serbia, a young and ambitious nation that aimed to unite all South Slavs under its banner. Serbia's nationalistic fervor and desire for expansion posed a direct threat to Austria-Hungary's interests. Russia, with its historical ties to the Slavic peoples of the Balkans, supported Serbia's ambitions. The Russian Empire saw itself as the protector of Slavic nations and was eager to counter Austria-Hungary's influence in the region. This rivalry between Austria-Hungary and Serbia, fueled by nationalist aspirations and territorial disputes, set the stage for the outbreak of World War I. The tensions in the Balkans were a microcosm of the larger conflicts brewing in Europe. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne in Sarajevo in 1914, was a direct consequence of these simmering tensions. His death was the spark that ignited the already volatile situation. The assassination, carried out by Gavrilo Princip, a Serbian nationalist associated with the Black Hand organization, provided Austria-Hungary with the pretext it needed to take decisive action against Serbia. This event set off a chain reaction of alliances and hostilities. The Balkans, a region of complex historical legacies and intertwined ethnicities, became the flashpoint for a conflict that would engulf all of Europe and beyond. The intricate tapestry of the Balkans' history and the ambitions of its people played a crucial role in shaping the events that followed. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, while not the sole cause of the war, provided the spark that ignited the powder keg. The resulting conflict, World War I, would change the course of history and reshape the world order. Section 5. The shot heard around the world. Assassination in Sarajevo. On a sunny morning in Sarajevo on June 28, 1914, a seemingly insignificant event occurred that would have world-altering consequences. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife Sophie were visiting Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. Their visit, meant to bolster Austro-Hungarian authority in the recently annexed region, was met with simmering resentment from Serbian nationalists, a group of young Bosnian Serbs affiliated with the Black Hand, a secret society dedicated to a unified South Slav state, plotted to assassinate the Archduke. Their motives were rooted in the belief that the assassination would weaken Austria-Hungary and pave the way for Serbian expansion. As the Archduke's motorcade passed through the streets of Sarajevo, one of the assassins, Gavrilo Princip, seized his opportunity. After a series of missed attempts by other members of the group, Princip fired 2 shots, fatally wounding Franz Ferdinand and his wife. The assassination sent shockwaves through Europe. It was an unprecedented act of terrorism targeting a high-ranking figure, and it had the potential to ignite the powder keg that was the Balkans. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was the catalyst, the spark that ignited the tinderbox of European tensions. Austria-Hungary, outraged by the assassination of its heir apparent, resolved to punish Serbia.